I welcome you all to the third week of this Intro to Web Development Bootcamp. Like I was saying before, congratulations to people that have been able to make it thus far to week 3. And we believe that so far you have learned a lot when it comes to HTML and CSS. And so in this third week, we are diving into a CSS framework that will help you to write your CSS faster and easily. So we'll be going through that, and we'll be showing some of the things that this CSS framework has to offer. And what's the CSS framework that I want to look at in the third week is the Bootstrap. It's called Bootstrap. I don't know if some of you have heard about it, but that is the name of what it says. We have other CSS frameworks like that also. We have like Material UI, we have Tailwind CSS and all like that. But the most popular of them all is Bootstrap, and that is why we are treating that in the third week. And like I said earlier, before some people joined, the material for the third week is ready and available on our platform already, if some of you have noticed. So after this webinar, you can go on to start studying them and practicing them with examples. So, and what I will encourage in this third week is that since we are treating a new topic, a framework, it has a website with documentation. So I would really encourage you, as you are consuming our content, also make reference to the documentation on their website. Don't worry, we'll go through all that now. So without further delay, we know about all this. So I'll just go to what we'll be doing this week. So this is what we'll be doing today, just a glance through of all these things, and along the line my colleague Toby will also come in and chip in one or two things for us. So I'll be treating the introduction, getting started, how can you start using it, then we'll go on to see how we can use Bootstrap navigations, layouts, component forms, carousel, buttons, and etc. So Bootstrap, and the Bootstrap we're treating will be Bootstrap 4, the latest one. So that is what we'll be looking at today. So please pay attention, and if you have any question, please you can put them in the Q&A section. After this presentation, we'll attend to questions one by one. Thank you. So I'll be going to my VS Code. All right, I was actually trying something before. Okay, so what I will do is I will create a new window, maximize it. So I will just name, copy this, create a new folder, name it Bootstrap 4. Please, if you can see my screen, if you cannot see my screen, let me know. I believe every one of us should be seeing my screen right now. So I'll click on it. So I'm going to create my first file, which is usually our index.html. So I'll whip up this. I come to my title and I say Bootstrap 4. So how do we use this Bootstrap framework? The thing is, we have to import that framework either by downloading it or by using the CDN. So if I come to the home section here, so this is the web page for the Bootstrap framework. And you see build fast responsive sites with Bootstrap, quickly design and customize responsive mobile first sites with Bootstrap. When we say mobile first sites, it means websites that are accessible anywhere, even on your mobile phone. Your users can easily identify your website. Can easily access your website using their phones. So that is what we call mobile first. And this, your website will be responsive. It's not that the image will be overflowing through the container or content and your form is one way on. No, everything will be orderly. It will be responsive at different device width. So that is how it's that is why it's one of the best framework out there. So you can see here, if you click, you see this v4.5. So the latest version currently is version 4.5. But if you want to use other versions, previous versions, you can click on this, or you come to this place and click on all versions. So how do we use this framework? How do we use it? So if I come to get started, I click on it. You can see here we have looking to quickly add Bootstrap to your project. Use Bootstrap Cdn provided for free by the folks at StackPath and all like that. So there are two ways we can use Bootstrap. It's either we download it or we use the CDN, which is this. I'll just come here, copy this, which is what we are going to do. But if you want to download it, if I click here, if you want to download it, you can come here and download the compiled CSS and JS file and also the source file, and then your popper.js and all like that. You can come and download them or use the Bootstrap CDN. But so what is the advantage of using the CDN or download it directly into your project? Well, for the downloading, what the perks it gives you is that you can customize it to the need of your website. So that is the advantage it gives you. But for the CDN, you can use it at the go straight away, but you can't, and it will be accessible in your server. But because since we are using it from Bootstrap server directly, but you can't make changes to the files. So that is why if you download them, maybe you want to change some things, you don't want to use some things, you can download them and make those changes to customize them, so to say. But for the CDN, you just use it at the go, just like that. So how do we use it? I come here, I copy it, and then I go back to my VS Code, and then in my head, remember our link is always in our head, I paste it, and then I come back and I copy all this. I copy it also, and then go to my VS Code, and then I put it, and I'll close this, and then I come to my body and put it here. So in our HTML, we learned that we can put our script tag in the head element or in the body element, but it's always preferable to put it in the body element because why? We always want our HTML, to load first, and our CSS, everything to load. We don't want a situation whereby our website will be breaking, because by the time you put all the script tag in the head section, by the time somebody is visiting your website, it wants to load everything. The web parser wants to pass everything together, your CSS, your script, and sometimes in some very complex websites, you might have more than one CSS file that is linked to the HTML, more than 5 scripts that is also linked to the HTML. So imagine you put everything in the head section and somebody wants to visit your website and you have some animations and all like that, but because of maybe the network is slow and maybe the server is having some issues, your website start breaking. It's not displaying the way it ought to. So that is why it's always advisable that you put your script tag below at the bottom of your body elements. So this is just it, how getting started, how to use get the Bootstrap framework into your project and using it straight away. So it is not that difficult at all. And even if you are downloading it, this is the same way you are going to use it, only that you are not using it from the server directly. You have it saved inside your file because you have downloaded it and it's inside your file, but you still make reference to them here, your script tag, your link and all like that, your popper.js and your jQuery and all like that. Well, just to mention, the Bootstrap 5 is available already. Please, can anybody still hear me? Some are saying that they can't hear me. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. And if you can see my screen. Please, can anyone hear me? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So there's Bootstrap 5 is available, though it's still in its alpha phase. But what's the difference is that in Bootstrap 5, they are no longer using jQuery. What they use now is they use pure JavaScript. That is what is being used in Bootstrap 5, but it's not widely used yet because they will have to support other issues like that. So that is why we are still using Bootstrap 4. So with that said and done, let's go. So now we'll be looking at Bootstrap navigation. Bootstrap navigations. So how do we use Bootstrap navigations? So remember I said one of the things that you want to do whenever you are building your website is using semantic HTML, like your nav, your footer, your section, your article, your aside, and all like that. Because of semantic reasons, there are some people that are visually impaired that use your website. So you want to also give them that opportunity to use your website. So we'll be starting with our nav element. So we don't expect you to cram everything now and put in your head. So but the more, we all know that the more you practice and you use something, the more it sticks. So to use Bootstrap navigation, I'll also be using this opportunity to teach us how to navigate through the documentation and get what you need per time. So you don't have to, just put everything in your, maybe trying to cram everything like that. So just come here and then we go to components. If you go to components, if you go down, you see that we have Navs and then we have Navbar. So if I click on Navs, so navigation is available in Bootstrap, and we all know what Navbar, our nav helps us to do. It helps us, to have links whereby people can go from one web page to another. That is what our navs are for. So you can see that we have different types here. We have the base nav, and then you have the horizontal alignment, then you have the vertical alignment if you want it to be vertical, then you have tabs, then you have pills and all like that. So but this is not the one that we really want to use. What we would like to use, this is just a simplistic type of it. So if I want to use this easily, I can just come here and copy, go to my HTML, and then go to my HTML file, then I paste. So if I should open this now, so you can see we have our links there, our nav and all like that. So I can come back. This is not how you want to use it, obviously. You want to use it, you want to customize it and use it to do what you want to do. So instead of this, can be the home, and then this can be about, can be contact, and then this can be we can also delete, so we don't really have to use everything. I can come here and delete this. The time I save, I go back to my, see my home, about, contact and all like that. So these are pretty straightforward to use. You don't have to do, so all you have to know what you want, and then you go for it, and then by the time you get what you want, you start customizing it to your own taste, to what you want it to look like on your website. So like I said, this is just the plain one. So what we really want to do or use is the navbar. So come here and I will go to the navbar. So they said how it works. Here's what you need to know before getting started with the navbar. Navbar requires a wrapping, which is dot the navbar class, and then with the, so this dot navbar expand, the SM means small screen, the MD means medium screen, then the LG means large screen, and then the XL means extra large for responsive collapsing and color scheme classes based on the width of your device. So when we started, we said Bootstrap is a mobile first CSS framework. You understand? The navbars and their contents are fluid by default. What we mean by fluid is that they limit, they use optional containers to limit their horizontal width and all. So the supported content, sometimes when you are on a website, you see that there's there's sometimes maybe a name, a logo or something. So thankfully Bootstrap has helped us get that covered as well. Sometimes you can have your own website and you have a logo and you want to brand it, so you use the Nav brand for your company product or project name. Then the Navbar class of Navbar nav for full height and lightweight navigation. Then the toggler to collapse and all like that. So without wasting so much time, let's me look for one that we can use. Okay, so we can just use this. So I'm going to copy this, and I'll be explaining everything one by one. Okay, so I don't even need, we are using semantic HTML already. So I want to check the chat section so that I will know that I'm not talking to myself. Please, can anybody hear me? And can you see my screen before we continue? Okay, thank you. So we're going ahead. So, like we said, we want to have a navigation. And why do we want to have a navigation? Because we want people to be able to move from one web page to another on our website. Sometimes you can have a website of 5 web pages, 3 web pages, 1 web page, and all like that. So, but according to what we have here, it means that we'll be having a website of 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though the last one is disabled, so we don't really need that. I would delete that link. So we have our semantic HTML here. We are using the nav, and then we are using a class. Oh, one thing I want to also point out here is that in Bootstrap, almost everything, if not at least I can say 90% of everything, they are class based. They use classes a lot, and it's always even advisable that even in your normal CSS that you use your class selector to style your website, because it gives you more flexibility, unlike ID selectors that you can only use it once. But class selectors, you can use it once, and if you are using classes a lot, it also helps you to handle specificity issues. You've been having problem where you be thinking, why is this not acting this way? Why is they not acting this way? So, and we know that classes have a specificity of 10. So that's that. So like we said, we are indicating that this is the navbar, and on when we are on a large screen, we want it to expand. So navbar expand on the large screen, and then this is showing that we want a light background color. You can see BG light and then navbar light. So if I go to my browser to check, so I was doing before. So we can see it here. This is our brand, the navbar, and then the home, and then the features and all like that. So if I go back to my code editor and I say navbar dark, and then background color dark, you see that the color will change. you can see it has changed the color of the background of our navigation. Sometimes we might want to, you know, have the brand on the right, and then the links, the other links on, I mean the brand on the left, and then the other links on the right. So I think we can come here inside this, we can say ML. Let's see what that is going to give us. Auto check. You can see now that we have it at the left. So what, we'll still come back to what this ML means. So what this ML means here is margin left auto, that is automatically give it a margin left. So what auto does is that it helps us push it to the last end of the container, and our container here is the div. So, and it is this element, this home section, the features. Please take note that I didn't put the margin left auto on the first div element here, this div collapse and all like that. We did not put it there. Why? Because it's going to move everything there. So it is just these links alone that we want to move. We want to give a margin of left. So when we are saying margin left auto, we are saying that give, if I go back and remove it, you see that they are together, but we want to give it a margin of left, give it space between the nav bar and this our links here. So we'll just come here and return it back there, and we have this. So if I resize, you can, okay, another thing I have to explain is that you see that I have resized my device width now is now small. So this is, I can click on this and get all this on the go. So what's part of our nav is giving us this? If I come back to my HTML, you can see here that this we are getting that here as a result of our button. Take note, for the brand, you can see a class, a link, an anchor tag of class nav brand and all like that. We can come here, change it and say bootstrap, or let's say f of x academy. So if I come back, you can see that it has changed to f of x academy back. So that is where you can make a change to your nav brand. So how are we getting that hamburger? How are we getting this? So we come here and we use the button. We are using the button element, and then we are saying a class of navbar toggler and type of button. So data toggle, by the time we collapse, all these things are working because of what all this, our script tag here and our link here. If we remove some of these things, it will not work the way it's supposed to work, because these things have been programmed, all the dependencies that we went to copy and pasted. That is why at the beginning I said you have to copy the link and then the script element that you have to use, that is getting started. That was what we did in the getting started section of the website. So, and then one common mistake people make is, if you can see my screen very well, you can see a data target. Data target of, they are using an ID here. A data target of navbar, nav alt markup, and then the areas control, they are using the same thing. So let me come here and say, and change it to responsive nav bar. So I've changed it. If I go back, you see I'm still having it here, right? But they are not the same. So if I come here again and I change it, remember I have not changed the data target, and I say responsive navbar, you can see I can't click on it again. Let me, I've maximized it, I've reduced it. You can see that I can't, it's not showing me my nav bar again. Why? Because my ID here is not corresponding with my data target here, which is an ID. You can see that we are using the ID symbol here, the hash. So my ID here is not corresponding with my ID here. So how do I change that? How do I? So I just make sure that they are the same. Just make sure that they are the same, and then if I go back now and I click on it, I have my hamburger nav bar back. So that is very, very important. It's a mistake that I have made before, and I'm wondering, why is my navbar hamburger not working? What is wrong? What is the problem? That is usually the problem. So also I'd like to, please, can you still hear me? Can you see my screen? Please, can you indicate so that we'll move ahead? All right, thank you. Okay, so that is that about nav. We have other types of navigations that you can explore. So, but that is that about that. So we'll be going to the next one, which is layouts. Layouts. So you can come, if you can't see it here, you can just come. This is layouts here, or you can type whatever you are looking for here. So that is how you get what you are looking for. So if you go to layouts, so components and options for laying out your Bootstrap project, including wrapping, containers, a powerful grid system, flexible media objects, and responsive utility classes. So containers are basically what in our houses, we have containers where we keep maybe some things in the kitchen, or sometimes where you keep clothes that you want to wash. You can use a basket or something, all those things, they are like containers. Also in web development, we have containers that help us to wrap things in our help us to wrap the content of our website. So, and we have different types. We have the normal container, which is 100% on, and you can go back to see how this will display in other screen sizes. And then we also have the fluid, we have the fluid, and we also have the normal container. So if we want to use the all-in-one container, our default container class is responsive. fixed with container, meaning it marks which changes at break points. So I can come here and just copy this, come to my and go like this and do this. So if I come and I say this is my container, I go to my browser now, check it up, so you see it. You can see that it is not starting at the left side, at the leftmost side of our web page. It's starting here because the container has been styled in such a way that it starts. So, but we are having an issue. It's close to the top. So we want to bring it down. So we can say something like this. Say this class and say margin, this margin y, this m is margin, and then this y means top and bottom, while x means left and right. When you are using mx, it means you are giving your margin on the horizontal basis, while the y is left and top and bottom rather, and it can take values of 0 to 5, I guess. So we say margin top and bottom of 4 pixel or so. So we can see that it's no longer sticking to the top of our navbar anymore. So that is how you use that. So but and by the time we come and put in more content, let me whip up a generic content. So you can see that our content is going from 1 to this is the container, and by the time we see that it is responsive, it is not sticking to the edge of our web, the body of our browser. We can try another one. Sometimes you can use this. So in a situation where we have more than one thing, so we can come and go to the grid system. So one thing I want to mention here now is that in Bootstrap grid system, we have a total of 12 columns. 12. So what you're seeing here, this is 4, this is 4, and this is 4. That makes it 8. So, and we know that we can change the size. So I can come here, copy this, and then if I delete this, I paste it. If I go to my browser, you see I have those columns there. But I want to make the middle one. If I should remove the middle one, it will resize it and apportion that columns back. The first one will be 6 and the second one will be 6. So that will give us 12. You cannot have more than 12 columns. So if I go to my browser, excuse me, and I delete this, you see I have it resizes everything, and I have 6 here, 6 here. So if I come in, I can return that and make this large. Let me see the sizes that we have so that I can choose. So you can see that the total number of columns is always 12, and then you can give it small, extra small, small, medium, and all like that. So I can come and say, and then as this dash at the end means the number you want to give it. Let me give it a medium. If I come here and I say MD of 6, and then the remaining will share the remaining spaces. So if I go back, come to my browser, and let me put in content there to actually see what we are talking about. This. So you can see that the column in the middle is bigger than the one in on the two edges. So that is this is very, very useful. For example, if you want to have, you can decide maybe you want to have 3 equal columns. Sometimes we can even make it 4. It's just that you just have to make sure that everything is, so now that we've declared that the middle one should have 6, by the time I come here and I create another column, it will distribute to resize it again. You see, it will resize. This has been fixed already, that what we want to have here is 6. So what it does, what the browser does, is that with the help of the Bootstrap framework, everything is that it resizes the remaining. So since this one is 6, maybe this one is, so we can even calculate it and say this one is now 2, 2, 2, and all like that. So making a total of 12 columns. So that is how we can use that. And you see, you have different options. You can go down and select the one that you want. So basically, you just have to experiment with this, because there's no amount of lessons that we give now that will exhaust the functionalities of all this. So this is just an introductory section to give you an overview of how this works and a better understanding. Hello, Toby, are you there? Hello, Toby. Okay, it seems Toby is not with us here. So then we'll go to components. Probably is, I think he's busy. So we'll go to components now. So that about layout. So please, if you have questions, can you keep them coming in the Q&A section so that we can take them at the end. Please, before I go to components, another check again. Can you hear me? And as well, can you see my screen? All right. Thank you. So I'll be quite fast now. I'll be quite fast a little bit. So in components, we have a lot of things that we can work with. We have a lot of things. So, and I'd want to treat some of the ones that we have. Under components, we have modals, it's even under components that we've treated Navbar. Then we have forms, we have drop down, we have carousel. So, and then we have buttons as well. So I will start with buttons. So if I click on buttons, and sometimes you want to have a button and with different colors. Maybe you have a task to give people and you want to indicate if the task has started, is in progress, or if the task is done already. So I can come here and I'm just going to paste this at the end. So what does this, our button primary, let me delete this so I don't put everything there. So we have button primary, we have button success, we have button warning, we have different kinds. So if we go to our browser now and check, you see that we have a blue button. So instead of, why not put this at the bottom of our first column? At the bottom of our first column here. So if we go back to the browser, we can see it here. We can see that it's very, very close. So how do we give space? We can do what I did. We can say margin, or we can even say margin top. Margin top of let's say 4 pixel. See, it has given us, so or we can say, if I say margin left of 4, it's going to give me margin left, sorry. So it has given us a margin by the left hand side here. So, and if I say a margin right of 4, I'm just experimenting for you to see it has given us a margin right, and then a margin bottom which will not be visible because there's enough space beneath. So what we need is a margin top, and then we have that margin there. So how do we create other buttons? So we can come here, I can come at the end of this and say I want to have a button. What is the type? It is very important to indicate the types of, you know, when we're treating forms, we also have a type of submit, type of reset, and all like that. You can also do that here. So, and then we give it our generic class, which is the btn, which stands for button, and then we can say button warning, and then we also want to give it a margin top of 4. So if we go back to our browser, you can see that it's very, very small. So that's because we've not given it it's a warning. Go back to check, you can see it's there. and then so I'm just going to copy this and then come to this part and give it success, say success, and then so that will give us a green background. So this is it. So there's basically not much to look at here as regards the buttons under components. So but you can, and these are other types. If you don't want the background, you just want the outline buttons to show with the name and the border. That's, and then we can also change the size. We can say, we can come here and say BG, what is it again? Say BTN, and see that I'm not trying to cram. As a programmer, the truth is you don't cram anything at all. You can see that it's large now. I can come here and say BTN extra small. See that it's small, or XL, or MD. So whichever way you want the size of your button to look. So as you can see, hello, can anyone hear me? Oh, you can't see my screen, sorry. I don't know why the thing went off. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now, please? All right. So I was saying that you can change the size of your button using the large, the small, the medium, and all like that. So, and I did something like this on BTN large. I can come, this is BTN MD. I can say BTN large here again for the warning, just to recap. Then if I go back, you see that it's large. So that is that about buttons. So let's go to forms. So let's go to forms. So we see that one of the hardest things to style in CSS are forms. Thankfully, Bootstrap has also helped us to handle that. So you can use their form out of the box. So, and you can place them in anywhere. So this is an example of a form. This form here, this is how it will look like. So, and then we have form controls, and that is how it's going to look like. So which one do we use? Which one do we use? Which one do we use? Let's use the first one. We're using the first one. This. So come here and copy, and then I pay. So I want it to be small, to be inside another. So I can come here and say, I paste it here. Let's say I want to put it in a container. So I can come here and say div dot container, and then my container, I want to have in my container, I want to have a very so I come here and I give it a div of row. Inside my row, I come and then I give it another div with a class of call say md6 md6. So I come here now and copy all my form. So I'm actually going to cut it. And put it here. So if we go back to my browser and check, I have my form here. So if I want it to be in the middle, I can just come back to my browser here and give this, just like I did here, inside my row. Or remember, inside my row, and say a div of column md3, and then copy after my form. That's the div for my form. Okay, and then so you see that I have improvised and I now have my div, my form in the middle. So if you want to create more text inputs for your form, it's really easy. You don't have to do much at all. You just have to come and copy and paste. By the time you copy and paste, and then you just change the values. For example, we have email. What if I want to have the first name, the last name of the person? If you want to, okay, Oluwaseun is, how do I change my custom style in Bootstrap? So you can easily do, the thing there is that we'll now have another style sheet. So it's not only for example here now, I can come here and say I have my CSS, and then inside my CSS I have style dot CSS. So and I come here and I link it. So that's a very good question. So it should just be like we are only using Bootstrap styles. So when I say style dot CSS, if I come here now, so it's easy. So you see, I can come and say the body of my CSS, I want to change it, and I say background, which can also be my background color, and let me say let me use hash af. Then if I go back, Why is it not? Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't indicate that it's in a folder. So you see that I have modified my CSS background now, and it's now hash. So that is how you can easily do that. So with this now, you should have an idea of how you can easily change your custom background. That means the first thing you have to do is you have to create your own custom CSS file. After creating your own custom CSS file, you then apply the styles that you want to give it and all. So that is as easy as that. Who asked that question? Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun, are you? My screen was displaying something different. Okay, just to recap, how do I apply my CSS custom styles? I'm going to delete all this. So can you see my screen now before I continue? Please, Oluwaseun and others, please, can you see my screen before I continue again? Okay. Okay. So thank you. So he asks that how can we add a custom CSS file to our style sheets so that it won't be that we are just using the Bootstrap styles alone. And I said that the first thing we do is we create our style, and I say style.css. And we come and say style dot sorry, I have to delete this and create it again. Okay, so in this now, and I come and say style.css. I have a style sheet now. So, and to use it, we all know that I also have to link it. And then I come and say style CSS, say my style.css. Let's say, for example, I want to change the background of the body, and I come and say background, and I use hash. So if you go to, so you can see that I have changed the background of the body of my style of my web page. I have changed the body entirely. So this is how to do it. Oluwaseun, I hope that answers your question. All right, thank you. So we are proceeding. So I was saying, how do we get to have more form inputs? So how do we do that? So I'll just come here. I can copy this one for password. Then I can copy. Time I copy, come down, and then I paste. So what is this label for? This one is for first name. And I come here, I say first name, and I change the ID here as well. And I say first name, say first name, and then the type is not password. We know that it is a text. We want to put a text there. So that's that. If I go back to my browser to check, you see. So that is how you can easily just create more form inputs. So that is about that. Like I said, programming is you don't have to cram. If you say you want to cram in programming, you will just give yourself unnecessary pressure and all like that. Even when you get to JavaScript or backend programming, if you don't know anything, after, of course, what you must have done is you must have tried it yourself and see all the ways that you can use to solve that particular problem. But when you're unable to solve it, you go online and check, ask people, use Stack Overflow, there are different solution platforms there. And also I would like to stress out that it is important by the time maybe you want to start doing back end and all like that, which we do in which we also teach in FX Academy. Don't be a programmer that is language or a programming language specific. Programmers by default, what we do is we solve problems irrespective of the programming language that you use. So now you can now decide that, okay, I want to major in C#. I want to be, so someone can kind of refer to you as a C# developer, or you say you want to major in JavaScript or in PHP or in Laravel. Just have this. I want us to understand that these are tools that you can use to solve problems. These are tools that you can use to solve problems. So JavaScript, for example, we are using Bootstrap here. As time goes on and in your journey, you can decide that I don't want to use Bootstrap again. I want to use, there's what we call Tailwind CSS. This is also a framework that you can use. This is another, you see, a utility first CSS framework, and then we have Material UI. Though this is a React framework for building layouts, but it's also CSS and all like that. So we have different types. So don't you often see sometimes people will be saying that this programming language is better than the other, blah blah blah. The basic and primary work of the programmer is to solve a problem. It does not determine, the tool that you are using, be it Bootstrap, Tailwind, does not matter. In as much as what you've done your search and you've seen that, okay, Tailwind CSS will even be better than using Bootstrap 4. Bootstrap will be better than using Tailwind CSS or Material UI. So don't be rigid and say that no, I must use this, I must use that, or I'm a JavaScript developer, blah blah like that. Don't be rigid, be flexible. So that is about that, and we've just seen forms. So then let's go to, I will treat one more thing by 11:30. I will stop. If we have any question, please let's start asking and all like that. We can also use a carousel. You must have seen websites where you see images sliding from one image to another. For example, if I click on this is the second slide, third slide, first slide, and all like that. So this is, thankfully, CSS has, Bootstrap has made that available as well. And there are different types that you can choose from. Some of these are timed and all like that. So this is how you can just come here and which one? Okay, let's pick this one, and then we get to download some images. I can come decide and put it inside this. So this is it here. So let me not wrap it around there. Usually you have your carousel at the beginning of your home page, probably after your nav. So if I come and I paste and I go up, this is it, but we don't have any images yet, so that is why we are having that. Let me see, let me give it, where's my class? Okay, let me give it a margin top of 5. Let's see. So okay, so we have it here now. It's not sticking to our navigation bar anymore. So we need to insert images. We don't have an image. So we need to insert images. So let me see, let me create an image folder. Images. So let me see if I have images here. My downloads. Okay. Let me copy this. Copy this. Let me just cut it. Go to my desktop, Bootstrap 4, images, and I put it inside. So we know that this is where we put it. So I say images, and I use this as the first one, which is the active one, and I come the second one, images, and I say this. I hope you can still see my screen and hear me. So voila, we have our carousel image. So this is not a good UI because I can't see the next. I didn't put the last image, which is the third image. So I just said, let me demo this for us so we can see. So, and there's a way we can even style this also to not make it fill the whole width. So I'll leave that for you to find out yourselves. So what other components should we look at? Okay, I can remember I was showing us how you can add space at the bottom, at the top, and all like that. So let me show us where we got that so that you won't think I'm just whipping that off my brain without any reference. So just gonna type spacing. So you see now that I couldn't find it there, so I decided that okay, let me just type in the search bar here and type spacing. So M for class that sets margin and P for classes that set padding. So you must have seen that I was using it before, and these are the sides. You have T for the top, B for the bottom, L for the left, be it margin or padding, R for the right, X for classes that set both the left and the right, Y for classes that set both the top and the bottom, and then blank, just like in your normal CSS for all sides. For example, in my buttons that I used above here, where are they? 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 Okay, I gave it a padding, a margin top of 4. But what if I just want to give it a padding inside and I come here? I want more space inside this button primary. So I'll just come here. I can just say P. Let me give it so that it will be more obvious. All sides. So if I come back and check, you see I've given it a whole large amount of space inside. So that is how I have been doing that. So I've not just been whipping it out of my brain. It's also in Bootstrap CSS. And then of the numbers, which starts from 0 to 5 and then auto, which means that the browser should help you automatically set it. And also, you can use flex to help you arrange your elements. For example, this now, you can use this. So basically, by the time you start putting in content and all like that, you will see where all this come into play. And like I said, there's going to be a final project that I'll be giving to everyone, the same projects, but to be expected that you all will do it. So if I paste this, let me just give this some more contents. So you see, and you can see the remaining this thing. Let me go and off that background. Let me comment it out so that you can easily see it. Let me hide this. So this is it. So if you want to create a flex, and you can see Bootstrap is saying that their stuff is mobile first, and actually it is. So the more you see it's increasing, and it's resizing everything. So that's it. So you see that with Bootstrap, you can just easily start building your websites like that before you get better at your CSS. Some people prefer to write their CSS for their website from ground up, while some use Bootstrap. So it depends on your choice and what you want to do. So, and like I said, all these things have been set in our content. So before, this is 11:26, we'll soon end this session. Does anybody have any question? Questions? Oluwaseun, okay, I just want to entertain questions for the remaining time, and it can even be concerning what So I will allow Oluwaseun to talk so that he can ask his question. So once your mic is granted access, Oluwaseun, you can go ahead with your question. Then I'll move on to Fuad. All right, Fuad.
Good morning.
Oluwaseun, can you go ahead with your question? Good morning.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Oluwaseun.
Okay. My question is just, I think I've asked one question before, but more importantly is the project that we did. I had issues, what do you call it, making it to be centralizing the image. So can I address it? If I've chosen not to use Bootstrap, how do I address it with normal CSS? I try using margin, making my margin to be to compress my image in center, but it was giving issues. So that's my question basically. But sincerely, you guys have been fantastic. I love the class and it's very nice. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, for that assignment, let me see if I can quickly run through it, because I think there was a lesson. Let me mute you back. Fuad, let me also take your question so that I'll answer everything all at once. Let me see where do I have that file so that I can quickly. Okay, CSS fundamentals. So let me open a new window. So question from last week and CSS, I'm still expecting. Okay, Fuad, you can go ahead now.
Yeah. Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, my question is pertaining to the Navbar.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know, maybe you were not talking last week. I was talking about the end child. Then the person advised that if I should get a class, target the class. So what I'm trying to do is that I have something I got from Figma, that the image, the logo was in between. I have home, about me, about home, about contact on the right side. Then gallery and other thing on the left side. Then the logo was in between that. Do you understand me, sir?
Yes, I understand you.
So I've been trying to find a way to target to have how to move the home, about, and the contact to the left, then home, and then the other component to the right, then the logo stays in the middle. That's why I asked the question of the nth child. So on Bootstrap, I didn't actually get the class, so I'm still having that challenging.
Challenge. Well, if I go back to my file in Bootstrap now, I did something on my nav, which can also give you, and I believe we should give you an idea of what you want to do already.
I know if you do margin auto, everything goes to the center.
Yes.
When everything is in the center, then you want to split it. That 2, 3 should go to the right, 3 should go to the left. Then the logo comes in between.
It's the arrangement.
I reduce the size of the logo. Then on the small screen, the toggler does not work.
On the small screen?
Yes. Once I minimize.
Okay, the toggler. Are you sure your because I mentioned your target, your data targets?
No, I think the logo was blocking the toggler, so I think I missed it somewhere there. If you don't mind, I can send the GIF to you later on. But
okay.
I just want you to ask how to target the end child.
Okay. The thing is, with Bootstrap here now, sometimes it's also how you arrange your how do I put it now? your elements in your HTML, how you arrange them. That's also, for example, here now, you can see here I've given it a margin left of auto. So if I come duplicate this, let me duplicate this, let me copy it, and then this, and then I remove this, because there are actually different ways you can solve your problems at times. And you can see I have more here now, and I come and let's try something different, and I say margin right, let me say margin auto. So you see now that I'm kind of nearing what you said that you want. You want it to be, you want to have something in the middle, your logo here, some nav icon, I mean some navigational links in the middle, and this one, let's see if we can move it to the right by giving it, so this should, let me see, I say margin right, okay, it's giving this auto, margin left auto. Okay, the thing is, the hack, our time is fast spent. I would have just taken time to see, we will try different things and then we'll be able to get the answer. But I also want you to understand that it is the way you also arrange your HTML. Sometimes arranging your HTML in such a way that it's nice makes it easier for you to style your HTML element using your CSS. But I would recommend maybe you check website like CSS Streak, then Modernize CSS. Those links have, those websites have instructions on how, for example, that nth child you talk about, you will see it there. So just play around it, and I believe you should be able to get what you want. As you can see that we are very, very close here. It's just that personally I would have even liked to have this at the edge there. So that about that. So so the person that asked about the assignment for last week, for this week, if I come, this is my HTML, and let me go live. You see that my own, I have everything centered. If I go to show you in my CSS now, I'm still going to I'll try to make a video of how you can achieve that. You can see that everything from the top here, from CSS is interesting to, if you notice, they are on the same line from the left to the right, like that. How did I achieve that? What I did was I had a container class. Watch, let me comment this out now. Let me comment this out, and then I go back to my browser. You see everything scatters. Everything scattered. So you see, this container class is one of the generic things that you always see in CSS. is one of the generic things that you always see in CSS, because sometimes you don't want your website. So what, if I'm to explain what this container class is doing now is, I'm saying that if I come to my HTML and I show you, you can see that in my header I have the container class. In my main section I have the container class. In my section 1 I have the container class. In my section 2 I have the container class. So what is this container? Is a generic container class. So, and I want to use it everywhere. I don't want my content touching the edges of the browser body. So I come here and I say, okay, a container, give it a width of 80%, a max width of 620 pixel. Here now we can go ahead to use pixel, and then a margin 0 auto, which means center align this for me. Just watch, if I should increase this to 900 and I go back, you see that it has increased, right? So what that max width is saying, that if and you see that it's also responsive. So that is why we are using width. So if I come here and let me change it back to, sorry, I was using 9,000. You see. So if I come and I start increasing, it gets to a particular size, it stops expanding. You see now that it's expanding. It has stopped expanding like this because it has reached the max width, which I set with a pixel. And how did I achieve? Because I know that some of you must have gotten, one thing about programming is there's not one-way traffic. You can actually get your answers in different ways. So how did I get this background overflowing from the left to the right? So, and that is, if I go to my HTML, sorry, this is for this. If I go to my HTML, this is my header, and I gave it a class of header. So if I come to my CSS, you can see that I gave it the background, and I gave it a padding top and bottom of 2.8 m and a 0, and then the color of the text inside obviously should be white. And then for the section beneath also, I did the same thing. I gave it a header class. That is my section 2. So I can decide to just give it maybe overflow background or something. So that is, but I will do a video on that and will upload it and have that for you so that you can see how you can make changes. Okay, somebody is saying that Bootstrap code for image besides. If you come to this place and you type image, so this is where you can get the code to resize your image. There are different aspects. I just don't want to give you all the pieces. That's why I'm just showing you everything one by one, so that you can make by the time you have problem, because the truth is, if you don't have problem, you cannot get the solution of what you want to do. So for example, if I use this, I come here and I go to this place. This is my container class. Just want to be sure. come and say images nature. And then we come and these are images quite high, it's quite big. So we can come and give it a width and I say 200. I go back, you see, I have resized my image. For example, this is our carousel that is big. If I go back and also work with that, is at the top, and after this I say a width of 500. Where it's supposed to be in 500. Let me copy this, also come and give it here a width of 500. Or something, it's not working right here. Something is not working right here with my width for the carousel, but I will get back to us on that. So please just bear with me for now, but ordinarily if you want to, you can just did what I did here, and usually by the time you give if you want to resize and you give the size to 1, it will automatically do the rest. It will automatically assign a height and all like that. So you don't have to say, unless you want the height to have a different size and then the width to a different size. But if you want everything to be uniform, just give it either a height of 400 or a width of the size that you want to give it. That answers your question. But to how to resize the one for the carousel, I will get back to us on that. Any other question? So you're welcome at Sadiq. Any other question? So in the absence of any other question, we'll be bringing this to a close for today. So I believe that with what I have shown you the way, because what we believe in F of X Academy is that we, in our normal boot camp or physical boot camp at the office, we do pair programming. And what is pair programming is, what we do is we pair people together in twos, depending on the population, in twos or in threes, and depending on the task that is given. So when we pair like that, you will learn on your own. So and all these that I'm even showing you, we barely do them. So where we come in is where we show, maybe there's an issue, somebody has an issue, and then we show them how to go about it, and then we solve, and using the screen we code along with them, and they see how we are doing it. But I have shown you how to use Bootstrap, I've shown you the capabilities, I've shown you what you can. So anything you want to do, just please, can anybody hear me? Can anybody else hear me? Okay, Fuad can hear me. So basically what you just do is, if you need anything in Bootstrap to solve a problem or anything, just, you know, search for it. You see, the other time I had to search for images, I had to search for spacing. If you can't see it on the left side of the links, just search for anything that you want and then it should pop up. So far it is there. And then this is the general documentation. Then these are examples, custom components. Let's look at this product example. This is what you can decide to also do, something like this. And then we have icons. Bootstrap have icons as well. And if you want to use it, you have to install and all like that. So you just have to, and to be honest with you people, most of the things I learned in programming, I learned by myself. So we are encouraging you to study. When you go through our content, which is exhaustive enough, you can still, go the extra mile to get information from other people that have explained and all like that. So that is that. So someone is asking for my email. You can chat me in the Slack channel, and whatever you need, I would get across to you there. So please, any other question before we call it a day today? So I hope we know that this is just what we have been doing so far is building a static website. It's not doing anything. It cannot it has an avenue to collect. Yes, for the assignment to get across to us in the course of the week. So usually we like you to, have consumed some information and all like that, and then we then proceed to go into, saying that once we know that you've gotten to a particular point, then we say, okay, these people should be able to start doing some things with what they've learned so far. So there'll be assignments. So like I was saying, this is just a static website. It just has an avenue to collect, for example, if you have a form to collect data, but it's still static. And when we mean static, is it is not dynamic. It cannot do anything yet. It can't take in data, it can't do so, and so that is where back-end development comes in, and that is another aspect of programming. So basically what you are doing can be classified under front-end development. Yeah, just what is front-end development is what the users see. And usually in your front-end development, you want it to look so nice, easy to use. And like I said before, when you are building a website, you are building a website that people can use. You are putting people into consideration. You are not building the website for yourself. So you are not saying that, me, I like the button to be here, I like this to be here, I like that to be here. No, you are building for other people. You are not building for yourself only. So, and people use websites differently. So, but to now get to the point of being able to get your data and all like that, you have to learn back-end programming. So, and we have a provision for that, but that will have to be a full course and all like that, where you'll be taught everything from beginning and how you need to design, make your form, accept data, process data, and all like that. I don't know if you've seen some of our academy projects of students that did project, you must have seen what they had done, and I can assure you that most of them are employed now. Most of them are employed. So in the absence of any question, we'll be calling it a day. So thank you for sticking around thus far, for joining us today also. For those that were not able to attend, we'll just, and maybe if you're having issues with connection, you couldn't hear me or you couldn't see my screen for one reason or the other, we'll be putting it on our YouTube channel for us to watch later. So thank you once again for having us today. So see you next week, which is going to be the last week of this program. So thank you and have a pleasant and a wonderful weekend. God bless.